It was a snowy night. My parents were both shopping late, and I decided to play Batman Arkham Origins on my Xbox 360. The game console flickered to life as I gripped onto the controller, ready to fight some bad guys. The snowstorm was surging outside, and as the wind howled, I flicked my eyes to the window and said, "Hasn't the storm been like this for a while?" Coincidentally, a similar storm was going on in Batman game, snow and howling winds surrounding the Dark Knight. After being the arcany of the courthouse, I decided to go to Sheldon Park, where it became Wonder Town Tower in Arkham City, and defeat Shivia. But as I was gliding in the air as usual in the Arkham series towards Sheldon Park, I got a call from Commissioner Gordon saying something about Catman being spotted in the subways underneath Jezebel Center. On a side mission pops up, Cat's Cradle. I was surprised, yet confused. Did I unlock something? Never did the game have a side mission titled Cat's Cradle. I didn't go to a certain area or find anything unusual. It just came out of the blue, which seemed unnecessary, yet I was thrilled due to the fact that I finally got to chance to fight Catman himself. Never has he appeared in any of the Arkham games, all except for a poster show at Jezebel Plaza, advertising saying the show played by Thomas Blake, aka Catman. Posters throughout Gotham City allude to show about a big wild game cats from the jungle zoo at Gotham Zoo, represented by Catman himself. Jezebel Plaza was running during the events of the game. However, due to the massive blizzard, all of the shops were closed and there were no shoppers. There was also this Ricky Lemback and his crew had made an arms deal, to which Batman interrupted. I already did this though, and now I was coming back to the location to defeat the villain that was never meant to be in the game itself. I found the subway entrance and entered, and I remembered it being like this subway in Arkham City. Only something about the atmosphere was obnoxious. It had a crushing feeling of dread, yet it lured me like a mouse with a slice of cheese. I ran Batman through the dark tunnels, and what I found made me a little uneasy. I found blood on the floor and walls of the tunnel, as if someone drenched in blood was running from someone or something. I didn't even think of it, since I was a fan of horror games, but this isn't a horror game. It's even though it had dark and McBrady scenes and characters. Seeing this, it reminded me of the side mission, The Identity Thief, where you have to solve the murderers made by Hush. As I ran through the Caped Crusader throughout the abandoned trains, I made it to the subway terminal, and what I saw next threw me off. I saw the Catman himself lying on top of an abandoned train. His appearance was messed up. He looked like a wild man. He wore a lion pellet like a tribal warrior, and then wore the head of the lion like a hood. There was even a splatter of red around his eyes, like a hunter, and wore anything but black sweatpants and steel claw-tipped knuckles with razor-sharp edges, just catarrings in his pockets. Like in the comics, he had a large, horrific scratch across his shirtless chest by a lion. He wore a cape under the lion pellet that claimed to be the mystical, like in his early appearances. In the comics, Catman is an Olympic level athlete and skilled hand-to-hand combatant, able to fight his own against some of the most bizarre professional beings and even fighters. In the DC universe, including Bronze Tiger, Batman, and an actual lion, he is also one of the world's foremost hunters, trackers, possessing an extraordinary sense of smell. In the game, his hunting skills had this sense of smell was more enhanced and increased, making silent takedowns extremely difficult. His fighting styles outmatches Batman's, so the only thing to do was to keep a good distance from Catman as possible. It was like fighting Killer Croc. You would need to walk slowly, pay attention to the meter. It will automatically alert you when you're going too fast. And when you make your way around the subway terminal, Catman will chase you, and you will have to use the quick battering throw to knock him down. At some point, he will start chasing you, and you would need to run and dodge at any obstacles that are in your way, pressing any button actions specifically. But Catman is the least of the troubles. Around the terminal were a flora of big cats, lions, tigers, cougars, panthers, hell, even domestic cats, all locked in abandoned trains. Some were even roaming around the area, not leaving Catman's presence. The felines weren't brainwashed, nor did they suffer any kind of torture. It was as if they were his pets, loyal and trained to attack and kill their prey. If they would chase me, they would try to maul me, and I would have to kick them off of me and run and dodge away from them. But what gave me the chills was before all this happened. As I got in the subway terminals, Catman was on scene on top of the train gloating. I could tell he was voiced by Jason Douglas, the guy who voiced Beerus in Dragon Ball Super. But the way he talked freaked me out even more and more. He sounded like those psychopaths in those slasher films. You can only actually hear the malice in it. Just pure evil and malevolence. Like he enjoyed killing people just for the thrill of it. Like someone who just got off of a roller coaster. He was ranting on how humanity has betrayed the feline race, being haunted and killing for business, or being locked in cages left to rot. He then continues to grab a police officer, and then throws him inside one of the abandoned trains filled with ravenous lions, and watched as the officer was being attacked, mauled, and eaten alive, as in the most gory way of possible. The officer's throat-spilling screams was so painful, as if it hits you in the gut. Blood splattered all over the train's windows, and even the bloody hand of an officer smeared glass, leaving a bloody print. The rest of the glass in the windows of the trains looked cracked and broken. It stayed there throughout entirely of the game. Even Batman himself didn't want to see that, and neither did I. That's when a tiger sees Batman, roars, alerting Catman. That's when the battle began. It was hard as hell, but at least I gave it multiple tries until I managed to defeat Catman. As I defeat him, an achievement had been unlocked. It was the same title as the mission. I just sat there, eyes locked onto the TV. Never in my wildest dreams I have ever seen like this in a Batman game. Jesus, I shuddered. I shut off the game, not wanting to play it through. I still have those images in mind, and graphic depths that officer, the grisly gargoyle, that is the Catman, and the way he hunted me down like an animal. He is. I guess that's why they didn't include him in the entire Arkham series, because he was that delusional and murderous. Well, at least we get to see Catman as an Easter egg in Arkham Origins. That's a first. Well, my pretties, that was Batman Arkham Origins CATMAN, a Batman gaming pasta written by TheDarkCat97. My final thoughts on this story. I could definitely say that this is actually a pretty good creepypasta involving one of the Batman Arkham series. Now, I haven't really watched Batman in a really long time, so I can't really, pinpoint exactly when, if I, seen certain games, played certain games or whatever. But, in all due honesty, the Dark Cat actually sent this to me in one of his one of my older videos, actually, and I did not see it till I was going through my video notifications, and when I saw this story, I honestly had to read this one. So, yeah, it's a really well-made story, and I definitely gotta say, it's a pretty fun story, especially with the whole, concept of this. It honestly really makes it more, realistic in a way, and I can honestly see this being very believable. In a sense, I honestly have to say it was a pretty good movie. So, yeah. With that being the case and that being said, this story was definitely a pretty good story. There's a lot of time and effort when it came to this. The grammar in that is pretty good. And, I like the whole idea of Catman. It's kind of similar to Catwoman, per se. Like, I like the personality in that. It kind of reminds me of Catwoman a little bit. And the whole concept of it kind of reminds me of her a little bit. But I definitely gotta say, I could see this being the case, but unfortunately, I could see, why as to Catman being cut out or something, but I really hope we get to see him again maybe in the future because he seemed like a pretty good villain for a Batman game or whatever. The only downfall of this story, if I had to make a really good point on this, it would kind of be maybe a reason as to why they originally added Catman to the game. Was it, a scrapped, lost media or something? I mean, if it was scrapped or something, maybe that could be, more understandable, which I can honestly see that being the case. So, yeah. With that being said, and with that being the case, this story is definitely one of the good ones out there. I've seen other ones, but this one's definitely pretty good. So, yeah. Anyways, with that being the case and that being said, I still find this concept to be a pretty good story. Even though it's a short one, I still can see this being a really good story for, what it is when it comes to, Batman. Now, I haven't really watched Batman in a really long time, so I'm going to have to rewatch it. But I don't think I've ever played any of the games. Maybe not in a long time. I can't remember. But, I'm going to sit here and say right now, Dark Cat, this was an awesome story. You did a pretty good job with this. So, yeah. Anyways, I guess with that being the case, that being said, I'm going to sit here and say, this is a pretty good story. I like it. So, with that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that is perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story is definitely a 9 out of 10. I'm giving it a 9 because while I do like the concept of, Catman and all, but the only thing I really has me wonder is, was this like a, I don't know, really. I think maybe was this originally going to be in the games and that for Batman, but they scrapped it for whatever reason, or how was that possible? Was this like maybe a lost media thing or something? I mean, all we can really say is maybe Dark Cat can comment in the video and maybe give me a little bit more explanation. But yeah, anyways, with that being said, that being the case, yeah. What did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to my channel, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications when I upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.